Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. कैसे हैं आप लोग?
Fine, sir.
Very well, glad to hear. Surya. Okay, so welcome everybody. Payal, Chandrai, Rishabh, Siddharth, Riya, and Surya. Welcome once again. We are in day two with special session on Uniform Civil Code. और ये on demand session है just because you guys have wanted to understand it. Otherwise, I was going with the flow of social issues, other topics. But this is also one of the major aspect of social justice and social issues. So, shall we start? एक second.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Cool. Your entire screen. Okay, can you see the screen which I have just shared?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, cool. Okay. So I hope I will be quick with today. There was a lot of things got covered yesterday. Ultimately, the session was of 2 hours, and 2 hour ka video lecture is heavy, and I don't want to go heavy on everybody. Just take an easy step, and because learning comes with responsibility, we will not be very fast here. Okay, so step by step we will go. I will not stretch much more. जैसे कल हुआ था. So I think कल तक was clear, right? Anybody? Where did we finish? And from there we will resume today. कोई भी बता देगा?
So, third commission. Law commission.
Right. So 1861, the third law commission came, and as I said, Henry Maine का एक बहुत important role है, which one second, somebody came. Hi Gaurav, we have just started, okay? So, yes, everybody. So, Henry Maine's participation in these struggle, maybe in the acceleration of laws is very much evident. तो हम आगे we will study right in the next 10-15 minutes. So, we finished yesterday on third law commission. Sir John Romilly was the chairman again. He was on the second as well. And then he introduced, with the help of Henry Maine, Indian Evidence Act, the Oaths Act, Indian Contract Act. ठीक है? यहाँ तक clear था. Now, so basically, the East India Company now slowly and steadily, they are moving towards the procedure to balance the civil laws and criminal laws. So they were balancing the criminal laws via establishing everything under English laws. Civil laws में separate of Hindu system, and for Muslims they are Muslim systems, and others English system, right? So now, though Angrez, I mean the British, they brought this ideology. Not only we have to rule India, but society में भी कुछ करना है, okay? Because as I said, I think there was a question which I gave you. Yesterday's question was there that so primarily there's a big difference between Britishers and French. British बहुत पॉजिटिव थे, वो बहुत एक्साइटेड थे इंडिया को रूल करने के लिए, बिकॉज दे कैन सी लॉट्स ऑफ खजानास, रुपए, पैसा, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड देयर स्टेटस सिंबल एंड ऑल. Okay, so they were very enthusiastic and passionate about ruling India. So basically, not only implementing laws, they're also culturally, morally, and socially involved with, especially with Hindus, because as I said previously, uh, since we have already learnt about Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, and many more social reformers, so they wanted to change the bad things about what the Hindu system has been facing throughout the generations. So they wanted to change the samaj as well, the society as well. Okay, तो कुछ अच्छा करना चाहते थे. Few of them they did, right? Now this is the time they started making amendments. First, let's talk about, so in Hindus, ये मेरा stylus नहीं चल रहा है, and I have to face problems. So Hindus, ये caste है, and this is gender. Okay. So the East India Company, they started making amendments on castes and gender Hindu personal laws में, Hindu system में, basically. I'm sure there will be questions, why not Muslims? So I'll come on that. So basically, the Hindu spiritual leaders, the religious leaders, the political leaders were demanding actually the amendments in Hindu personal laws because they think their society can improve with these laws, and with the help of the British East India Company, they did that. So the first thing was, and this is one of the most important here in this context, is in 1837, Sir Henry Mains, he passed an act called Special Marriage Act. Okay. Basically, anybody would like to tell what was the provisions of Special Marriage Act? Because there were already Hindu marriage, then Muslim का अपना अलग था nikah, then English used to do church में वो अपना. But why did they introduce this Special Marriage Act? Any idea?
Prevent child marriage and as well as Satyavihah.
Sir, granting gender equality.
Sorry Chandri, क्या बोला आपने?
Granting gender equality.
Okay. ठीक है. So basically, एक सेकंड मैं इसको रिमूव कर देता हूँ. Facilitate conversion to Christianity and नहीं, not really. Who wrote this? Rishabh, right? One second. Facilitate conversion to Christianity and interfaith marriages. ऐसा नहीं था. So what happened here? That Special Marriage Act. Let me write. One second. Okay. Special Marriage Act में. You know, this I will explain you guys. This gets बहुत लंबी line हो गई. This gets divided into two segments. First, Intercaste Marriage Act. Intercaste Marriage Act, and the second was Interreligious Marriage Act. Interreligious Marriage Act. Okay. So, the idea behind the Special Marriage Act was that, see, there were many people, there were many youths, or there were many situations at that times when, of course, they wanted to get married with somebody who is not of their caste, of their religion. Okay, जो अभी भी होता है, in fact. So they start, falling in love with maybe a Hindu guy with a Parsi women, or maybe a Muslim women to a Hindu guy. So उस समय पे the British, they came with this idea that should any citizen or any person wants to get married, then he or she can get married on this via Special Marriage Act, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, identity, ethnicity, कुछ भी, अमीर, गरीब, and you know, the caste system, or Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahman, Muslim, Hindu, anybody. Okay, here the special thing is that anybody who is getting married under Special Marriage Act, they have to literally give pledge, घोषणा करनी पड़ती थी उनको, that hereby I, Siddharth, will not follow any religion from now and will not consider religion, ऐसे करके कुछ बोलना पड़ता था उनको. So एक घोषणा होती थी that they will not follow any religion from now and their marriage will be under Special Marriage Act. So basically जो court marriages होते हैं, I mean in nowadays as well, court marriages are under Special Marriage Act actually. So this was a step of a uniformity, kind of maybe first or second step to introduce a uniform law in the entire country. Okay, no dharma, no caste, only what you have to provide them as a certificate that you are a citizen of India. That's it. They will not ask you about your surname even. Okay, so basically this act was quite worthful act till the time when people were getting married. Although the patriarchy and the orthodoxity was at the peak that time, so not very much people used to get married under this special act. But yes, the act was there, the step was taken. Okay, but the entire act got, I mean, it got dissolved, it got repealed. Okay, and now we have the Special Marriage Act. Now we have is of 1954. Okay, ये आपको याद रखना होगा. That's it. One second, कोई आया. Okay, so Tejasvi, we have just started. Okay, and I was talking about the Special Marriage Act. ठीक है? So that's what is this?
सर अमेंडमेंट में जो ये कास्ट और जेंडर बेस पे जो अमेंडमेंट आ रहा था, कास्ट और जेंडर में क्या क्या एक बार फिर से बता दीजिएगा. जब ये अलग हो गया तो.
One second. You mean the Special Marriage Act got divided into two segments,
Yes, sir.
Inter-Caste Marriage Act and Inter-Religious Marriage Act. This was introduced in 1873 by Sir Henry Maines. Okay, this was primarily for setting a common ground, a uniform ground on marriage for in the entire country. And और इसमें इस Special Marriage Act में they had all this provision that should there be divorce, then what will be the provision? Should there be separation, then what will be the provision? Alimony, I mean everything. It's like a Bible for the entire marriage. It's a common marriage, okay? It's a simple thing. आज भी जो शादियां होती हैं इंटरकास्ट एंड इंटर रिलीजन, they are under 1954 के स्पेशल मैरिज एक्ट के अंदर. Okay, even if when you will go and marriage certificate in the court marriage, when you will do, you will get a certificate under this. Okay, you will not get a certificate from Hindu code bill or Hindu law or Muslim personal law, something like that. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. Okay, so this was one of those steps which, with the help of Henry Maines, they took. Now let's come to the next point. Was एज ऑफ मैरिज. किसी को आइडिया है एज ऑफ मैरिज पे?
16 and 18. 16 for women, 18 for men.
16 and 18.
Probably.
So, again, he introduced age of consent marriage. See, we all know that in the way the patriarchy and the way the orthodox system of Indian culture we had in the past, and because of this, earlier Mughals was ruling the entire country, and the entire Hindu system and the Muslim system was under Shariat laws. So everything was got like hodgepodge. Okay, शादी तो 5 साल में ही हो जाती थी बच्चों की, even the 6 years, 7 years, you know. There are some cases वहाँ पे बच्चा पैदा होता था and then वो शादी हो जाती थी, and after 10-15 years then they used to go at their in-laws' homes. So to stop these things, okay, he introduced age of marriage, which is called Age of Consent Act. Okay, Age of Consent Act, 1891. 91. Not much helpful, but yes, in this act it was clearly mentioned the girl age should be 12 and above for marriages. That's it. Okay, that was a फिर कोई आया. Okay, so hi Nurul. 12, yeah, Gaurav, I think मैंने देखा नहीं आपका यहाँ पे लिखा था आपने. Yes, 12 for girls. Okay, so not very much helpful, and we all know 12 is what age 12 is, nothing else. I mean, बहुत छोटी उम्र है फिर भी. Now, in this reference, I'll take you here. 1929. An act got passed जिसको कहते हैं शारदा एक्ट. Did you guys know it? I'm sure. What do we call Sharda Act? Anyways, what's the name of the act? It formally it's known as Sharda Act, but what is the legal name of this act? Anybody? It's Child Marriage Restraint Act. Okay, it's Child Marriage Restraint Act. 29th में introduce हुआ था, and in 30 it got applicable, started effective from 30. Here the age of boys was 18 and girls was 14. Okay, not much changes, just. And now third was, third step they did in 19. I thought to tell you guys in a chronological order since we are discussing this context, so it will be easy for you to remember actually. ठीक है, 1978 में ये 70 नहीं होगा या 1978 होगा. मोरारजी देसाई की सरकार थी, the government of Morarji Desai. They did an amendment, and with that amendment, the age is of boys is 21 and girls is 18, जो अभी है. Currently we are, I think, चल रहा है जो. Okay, this is boys and this is girl. So this happened in 1978. Morarji की government में boys 21, and this is your responsibility to find out what was the Amendment Act. Okay. So these two, I mean the 1891 wala with Henry Maines, and the previous one, the Special Marriage Act, introduced. Okay. Now let's talk about, he proposed one more bill, one more act, which is very, very important. ज़्यादा benefit the society did not get, but it was a good initiative. And that was the third point, which I would like to mention here. Women rights. Women rights in property. Okay.
Recent judgment जो आया था.
हाँ, I mean, this is the same thing. So, in a chronological order, में, I will explain.
Okay, sir.
I mean, that's the part of the judgment. वो judgment यही था ना that daughters will also get apart from
50
dad.
50%.
हाँ, पिता के संपत्ति में बेटियों का हक होगा, right?
हाँ, कोई भी जो है संपत्ति में भी सर, सारे संपत्ति में उसको ये किया गया था।
Right.
पैतृक जितनी भी संपत्तियां हैं।
Right. So here we will understand what was the principal act, because in legal system, in judicial system, they always refer to what was the principal act. Okay, so the principal act was 74, right? 1874 May this got introduced with married women's property rights. I cannot write the entire thing, just you can make a note here, married women's property rights. Basically, this was what? This was Stridhan. We all know Stridhan, right? So this was marriage women property rights. So Stridhan is of course in the recent times as well, and in the past as well, this Stridhan is a part is the entire money goes to the bride if it is in the form of dowry, or her father has given to her that this is your sona chandi, or this is your money, or maybe she has got something from her in-laws. Okay, so this act ensured that whatever the bride is getting, she has the full right over it. Okay, not the full right, but she has a right over it. There's a difference between full right and right. So it's just a simple act, but yes, it was a big step in this time, during this time, with reference to Hindu code bill. So whatever I'm telling you guys here is just with reference to Hindu system, because you remember in the beginning I made things like Hindu, gender and caste. So with this reference we are talking about. मैं Muslims में अभी नहीं गया हूँ, okay? So these all changes had happened, amendment has happened, societal changes and provisions in Hindu system. And when we say Hindu system, means Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism. These were there. Okay. Now, so this came 1874 May. Okay. 1820, sorry. Now in the chronological order, I will go here. In 1928, again, an act got passed with reference to its principle was Hindu inheritance. Just write Hindu inheritance bracket में removal of disabilities act. Removal of somebody want to say something?
सर ये मतलब थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन हो गया सर, बहुत कुछ हो गया है
क्या?
कि ये सब हिंदू कोड बिल से अलग ये सब काम हो रहा है कि सब उसी के अंदर ही जो है ये सबको डाल करके अमेंडमेंट और किया जा रहा है।
अभी हम हिंदू कोड बिल पे आ ही नहीं है. हिंदू कोड बिल इज नॉट इन द पिक्चर.
मतलब ये उससे पहले का ही सारा कुछ है।
Yes.
ओके सर।
Yeah. Okay, so Hindu code bill I will cover. Abhi Hindu code bill is not started. Okay, Hindu code bill got started in 1941. Okay, the birth of Hindu code bill. Before that, these are the systems. Okay, they wanted to reorganize and organize things on time to time. Okay, so this was the principal act, Married Women's Right Property. Second came 1928, Hindu Inheritance Removal of Disabilities Act. Basically, the meaning of this one is that Removal of Disabilities Act means whatever the disabilities is there in the Hindu inheritance law in the context of women, they will remove it. Okay? For the first time in this act, the female, the women, she got the rights. You know, क्या कहते हैं उसको, महिलाओं को संपत्ति का अधिकार मिलना चाहिए. So, married women should, I mean, she should get entitled for all the money from whatever she has got. ठीक है? There was not much. This act basically was not successful. This was a political thing which they have brought here just to upbring and to implement things here. This was actually not a good and great bill, but they have introduced Hindu Inheritance Removal of Disabilities Act. This is not much important. The important thing is here is 1937. ये बस याद रखना आप लोग that there was in 1928 का एक रेफरेंस के लिए. This is not much important, but one second. 1937 में an act came called Hindu Women Right to Property Act, and this is formally called Hindu Women Right to Property Act. This is formally called Deshmukh Act. It might ask you in UPSC or state PCS pre maybe Deshmukh Act. So
इसको लाने का कोई खास वजह जो कि देशमुख एक्ट कोई नाम से दिया गया है?
ये आप सर्च कीजिएगा, ये मैं नहीं बताऊंगा.
ओके सर.
There is some important things in here. Why? Who introduced this? Of course, there is somebody's name. लेकिन the most important thing, three important aspects of these act was there. First, जो हमने वहाँ बात की थी ना in 1874 about Stridhan, that a bride should be entitled for whatever she is getting from her in-laws or from her from mother, father. Here, on that Stridhan, she gets absolute right. So that's the term they used. Now I can use here full right. Okay. So the bride, the woman, she has absolute right over the property or the gifts or whatever she has got from her in-laws or her parents. ठीक है?
स्त्री धन वही जो अभी हम लोग डॉरी के नाम से
बस वही है. Right. That's a synonym you can say, but it should not be in the in our society. But unfortunately, it's very deep rooted. Okay. So, and the second was, and this was the biggest step this act brought for, you can say, an empowerment for women. Just to highlight was, have you heard about limited estate? Anybody इस मामले में what is limited estate? The second was about all limited estate. नहीं पता? Okay. So here the woman was also entitled for the property. Women means married women. Married women means the daughter-in-law. Okay, not the daughter. Daughter-in-law, the BV, the bride is entitled for in the sampatti, in the property of her husband. Okay, she cannot sell that property, nor she cannot give it to anybody, nor she cannot gift, but she has a full right over it. Okay. In future, if that property will get sell or maybe divided, she will get a part of it, but she herself cannot sell it. Understand the difference? So that's the word limited estate is given. Third, and I consider this is also one of the biggest step of that time, that widows, विधवाओं को पहली बार ये अधिकार मिला. Widows have got absolute right to get sampatti of her husband. I mean, of course, the husband, they passed away. इससे पहले क्या होता था? Anybody? because this was the first time in the history of India this act came and this brought into existence. इससे पहले क्या होता था?
सर विधवाओं को जैसे अछूतों की तरह रखा जाता था, मतलब उसे न शादी करने का समाज में कोई अधिकार था, और उनका ट्रीटमेंट जो है सोशल जो है बहुत ही बुरा था.
Right. So basically, before this act came, the division of the property happens when the husband dies. Let's say there are 3 brothers, okay? And unfortunately, this got passed away and he has got wife. So the division of the property will be in between these two. She was not entitled. But now with this act, she is also entitled and she is also part of this property. Okay? But there was a provision on these widows, limited estate rule was applied. That she cannot sell, she cannot gift, okay, this property or maybe that piece of land or the money. Okay, yes, should the entire land will be bought by somebody else, then she will get the portion of that thing, but she herself cannot sell. But eventually, this was a very good step. Okay, so did we understand all the 3 aspects? These are very much important. I know my handwriting is literally very pathetic, but just go by my words, and should you not understand, ask me. So first was absolute right on Stridhan, second was limited estate, and third was widows. They got entitlement in the property rights. Okay, shall we move forward?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Chaliye, okay. Let me erase this. So, anybody, I want your opinion here that आप लोग बताइए that why all things were getting, improvised or maybe getting amendments been happening in Hindu laws, Hindu court system. Why did not the British go and change, or why did not somebody did in Muslim? There was no act like the way we have just discussed in the Hindu system. There was no amendment from the time 18, जब से अंग्रेज आए, until 1930s, I believe. So anybody tell me? And I think everybody must have an answer. So let's discuss this. That why there hasn't been any orthodox. Orthodox means whose orthodoxity? Did the British?
सर maybe उस समय के जो समाज सोसाइटी जो थी वो सबसे ज़्यादा डोमिनेट थी, और हिंदू में जो है सर बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब सिस्टम एक नहीं होने की वजह से ये सब चीज़ लाया गया.
Okay. And Gaurav? कुछ आप भी फरमाइए गौरव.
सर ये इसलिए होता था क्योंकि मुस्लिम्स को कभी ब्रिटिश ने छुआ नहीं, क्योंकि प्रोटेस्ट करते थे लोग, वैसे ही वो माइनॉरिटी थी, तो फिर इसकी वजह से उन्होंने झेला भी था 1857.
Right.
तो उन्होंने ब्रिटिश से पहले सोच लिया था कि अब कुछ करना ही नहीं है रिलीजन के नाम पे.
Right.
इसलिए कोई रिफॉर्म्स नहीं आए, तो ये कारण हो सकता है.
हाँ, I mean, yeah.
सर अगर ये कारण होता तो फिर बिहार बंगाल का जो है वो बंटवारा नहीं होता.
अब बताइए गौरव.
पर मुस्लिम से बंटवारा चाहते ही थे ना. वो तो काफी ज्यादा नाखुश थे जब मतलब बंटवारा नहीं हुआ.
यहाँ पे जो है उनका पॉलिटिकल जो है मतलब पॉलिटिकल गेन होता है उस समय के लिए. वो अपने पॉलिटिकल गेन के लिए वो कर रहे थे. यहाँ पे जो है वो सारा चीज जो है सोशल हुआ है. कोई पॉलिटिकल जो है यहाँ पे चीजों को नहीं देखा जा रहा.
See, right. So, Siddharth, I agree with you, and Chandrai, Gaurav, आप लोग सही हो कहीं ना कहीं. So the British, what did they say when of course questions तो उठते ही होंगे there were a lot of debate, and the questions also arise that time that why did you guys not amend Muslim laws, Muslim personal laws? So what British gave, the answer was that the way Siddhartha Acharya has written, that Muslim reformers were not lobbying for reforms. Nobody approached us, so we did not do the amendments. But basically, the internal truth was that the Gaurav, the point which you have mentioned is yes. I mean, to an extent, it was right because there were Muslims, of course, they wanted reforms. There were women, Muslim, they wanted reforms the way it has happened in Hindu system. But there were few powerful Muslim leaders and these religious leaders as well. वो नहीं करने देते थे because they were thinking that by doing this, their culture, their identity will get mixed with other religion, with other cultural things, you know. तो उनको ये remix वाला system पसंद नहीं था. So they want their original. So they feel like I am the original thing and I have to be the original. I don't want to mix. So that's why they did not, till now, they did not support Special Marriage Act because they think unki kaum में you will get a mix of everybody. So the real Muslim will be seen nowhere if these things will get implemented. Okay, so there was things, there were reason ऐसे ही थे सारे. और of course जो एक reason था कि British को दोनों side देख के चलना था, for Hindus as well and for Muslims as well, because they have to rule. So जैसा जो कहता गया, the way they did. Okay, and since they have to rule as well, so they were using their own policies as well. Right, so अच्छा एक बात बताओ everybody, and I want everybody to answer. Could be, this is not a mandatory thing, maybe Tejasvi, Payal, Riya, Rishabh, that how can India remain united? Just one question out of the box, that how can India remain united? देखो धर्म एंड रिलीजन से तो मत कहना because we all know the truth. So give us a substantive type, you know, the concrete thing. What do you think? How can India remain united?
Sir, cultural. Sir, cultural.
Culture. Or
Tolerance and respect to
Tolerance
others,
and respect to others, each others.
okay, respecting the differences. Okay. Anybody? क्या नाम है? Riya, Tejasvi, Payal, what do you guys think? Culture, tolerance.
So I think if we
truly
understand the vision of say Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the formation of India, where we're not like America, where a lot of states have come together. We are originally one country which has been divided for administration. So that in that sense, like we're Indians before we come from different states. That if we understand that, it would be.
Right. So basically, Tejasvi would like to say something? Okay, no problem. So, which means everybody wants to say there is a famous quote called Sarva Dharma Samabhav. Right. So, we are not, of course, a dharmic country. We are not a theocratic society, theocratic country. We are not Vatican City. We are not Pakistan. That because religion, they don't have control over state. So religion, of course, wo to bracket, just you can erase it, delete it. With religion, we will be divided. But what all the things which we can unite it? तो मुझे लगता है क्रिकेट सारा सब पूरी इंडिया एक हो जाती है उस टाइम पे.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
है ना? It's like ओलंपिक्स चल रहे हैं.
खास करके सर अगर पाकिस्तान
Right.
इंडिया मैच रहा तो
Right. Olympics चल रहे हैं. India is united. You see Indian Railways. टेलीविजन, खैर ये सब तो आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू गाइस डिफरेंसेस, बट करेंसी, a country has one currency, is a country united currency. One constitution, उससे एकता आती है. One law, उससे एकता आती है, यूनिफॉर्मिटी आती है. Okay, तो there was a question, the Constituent Assembly, they asked Dr. B.R. Ambedkar that India is so culturally diverse. So Dr. Ambedkar, what do you think? How could be a Qanun like Uniform Civil Code get implemented here? So this was literally, you can Google it out, this was a question of the Constituent Assembly, the drafting committee. They asked Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And so B.R. Ambedkar, उन्होंने हंसकर ये जवाब दिया that अगर इंडिया में कानून नहीं बन सकता तो पहली बात तो ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली बनी ही क्यों? Right? Should you not able to make the laws in India, then what is the use of a constituent assembly?
Yes, sir, right. Yes, sir, right.
ठीक है? उन्होंने actually, he then and there at that moment, he told the Constituent Assembly that currently in India, there are 11 laws which are applicable in pan-India, which were, और मैंने आप लोगों को भी बताया है, which were IPC, CRPC, CPC. These were the laws which were applicable for everybody, right? When the constitution thing was drafted. So he said that if these laws, they will be implemented, they are successful in getting implemented, then why not a uniform civil code? So this was his reply on the question they asked. Okay? So my point here is that, now coming back to our topic, since we discussed about the Muslim thing, so I told you guys, or the way we discussed, that was the primarily reason why. Lekin, in 1937, so basically, when these things happened, you know, women's right, जब ये देशमुख एक्ट आया था, when these things was happening, then the citizens of the country, the India के जितने citizens थे, they felt like, okay, अब आज़ादी दूर नहीं है, the independence is just next door. Okay, so somehow, and at that time Muslim League was also there, and there was a rift between Congress and Muslim League, we all know about it. Now what happened in 1937, यहाँ पे 19 होगा, British passed an act called Muslim Personal Law, यहाँ पे ब्रैकेट में आएगा शरीयत Application Act. We will talk about this act when we will discuss Shariat law, Muslim personal law, going forward in detail. बस ये समझ लो यहाँ पे इतना that with this act, the British said that any मामला, all the situations and conditions from now onwards, from 1937 onwards, will be measured by Shariat law, which is Muslim personal law. Okay? So, did you guys remember that earlier when British, they changed criminal law system into all, the entire criminal law was converted into English law. Okay, all Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Jews, Parsis, they get everything from the criminal laws. That's the procedure. English law ke tahat, they used to file petition courts and all. But with this act of 1937, the Muslim personal law, they said that should there be any situation with regards to civil or criminal, everything will come under Muslim personal law. That's it. ये एक छोटा सा है case, just understand this, we will learn आगे चल के. And there was one more act, one second. basically that was the section 5 of this 1937 act. उसी को आगे निकाल के उन्होंने बनाया. So 1937 का section 5 था. They pulled out section 5 from 1937 and they made an act here in 1939 which was Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act. Yeah, actually this was a good step. Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act. इसमें क्या था that Muslim women can at least go and file a petition against her husband, that against the polygamy, bigamy, whatever he is doing. उससे पहले शरीयत लॉ में ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. Okay, so this was the basic act was passed. और this has also political will. इसके पीछे भी था. There was some political decisions and role taken out of it that we will understand later in the thing. So only just for your understanding, just take a reference from here. There were two things. First, 1937 में British Parliament they passed Muslim Personal Law, Shariat Application Act, and that act is like मुसलमानों से जुड़े सारे मामले Muslim Personal Law से ही तय होंगे. Right? And then in 1939, Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act, and इसमें the Muslim women they have right to challenge the wrongdoings of their husband in the court. That's it. Okay, so oh shit. Okay. यहाँ तक I think you've got understood, right? Unity through informality, laws of the geographic territory.
Yes, sir, clear. Yes, sir, clear.
Others? Ladies? Anybody? Ria, Payal, I think you got it, right? आगे चलते हैं फिर. Now we will understand here कि हिंदू कोड बिल क्या था. हिंदू कोई आइडिया आप लोगों को that what was Hindu code bill? Anybody? Yes sir, ये कौन है? Ria. Okay. So, considering all these changes, all these aspects, what all has happened, the amendment has happened in Hindu system. Basically, the one which we have just read about, the Deshmukh Act. The Deshmukh Act, of course, it gives a chance and entitlement to widows. It gives entitlement and a right for married women. But daughters के लिए नहीं था. बेटियों के लिए कोई अधिकार या कोई हक नहीं था. Okay. So there were many loopholes from that time. To bring all these loopholes into one segment, so the British Parliament, they decided that they should come up with something called Hindu Code Bill, and wherein they will research it, analyze it, and then make a decision. Uske liye, they appointed a very, very intellectual, very senior person named, anybody?
सर ये 1947 में आया तो फिर इसमें
41
कैसे आया सर?
Bill was introduced in 41. वो हम आएंगे. There's a chronological order, I'll tell you. 1947 में it came into a consolidated form. Before that, these things. Any idea that who was that great personality who became the chairperson or the committee chair, the head of this committee?
Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
No.
Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
So this committee was also called Hindu Law Committee of 1941, and this person was
Shyam Prasad.
no. Rao. B.N. Rao. B.N. Rao was highly educated. His intellect was, next level. Who was he? He was a jurist of International Court of Justice. He was the member who drafted Burma Constitution. He was a judge. And again, later on, he became the drafting committee member. He was also a UN Security Council member. तो बहुत कुछ थे B.N. Rao. B.N. Rao was people. So B.R. Ambedkar ने कहा that all the citizens of the country and everybody, they consider me as the constitution maker, but I give all the hardship and the experience and the major tribute to Mr. B.N. Rao because he himself, because B.R. Ambedkar himself तीन PhD कर चुके थे वो. He was the most intellectual and educated person in the drafting committee, right? But he gave the title of drafting the constitution to B.N. Rao. ये नाम बहुत important है, इसको search कर लेना, Google करना. He was a very intellectual person. So और जो ज़्यादा पढ़ा लिखा होता है, who has got lots of experiences, ground realities, and he was also an IAS officer, ICS officer भी थे ये. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys. Indian civil servant थे ये. Okay, so of course trust factor आ जाता है. So the British, they trusted B.N. Rao and they handed over the entire responsibility of creating the Hindu Code Bill, and that's why they made B.N. Rao as a head of the committee of Hindu Law Committee. Okay, so along with B.N. Rao, there were three others. Or this is your responsibility. You go and check who were the three people. Okay? So these four people were given the entire responsibility of analyzing, observing the society from the ground level, from the village level, rural level, urban level, that what is the loophole that we can incorporate in Hindu Code Bill, and then we can make a uniform law. Okay, so basically, एक सेकेंड इसको मैं रब कर देता हूँ. उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव ये था, पहला, they wanted to have a close review on Deshmukh Act, right? That with regards to widow and daughter related to property, they ensured that the daughter should get a right in the property, and a widow can sell the property. Okay, limited estate khatam ho jaye. Second is like to study from top to bottom, from the entire India, drafting, making people responsible of it. Okay, and third was that see, before the Hindu Code Bill came, and even before 1937 as well, even Hindu families, maybe there were situations and there were things we have seen that the husbands, they are involved in polygamy. Okay, they have got 2-3 marriages, 2-3 बीवियां हैं, and then because see, Muslim personal law, based on their law, they can have that marriages, but in Hindu law before 1941 or maybe 1947, you can say ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. A Hindu man can marry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 number of women. Now यहाँ पे जो प्रॉब्लम थी, so ये मैं ऑब्जेक्टिव बता रहा हूँ आप लोगों को. यहाँ पे जो ऑब्जेक्टिव था, that they wanted to understand that if a husband, if he separates from his first wife, or if he gets separating from the second wife, so this act will ensure the Guzara Bhatta. What was that? The first and second wife. Okay, she should get compensation. She should get everything from for the survival from her husband. पहले क्या होता था? Before that, they used to evade. They did not follow any protocol. शादी पे शादी करते जाते थे, बच्चे पे बच्चे पैदा करते थे. Okay, but now with this act, they ensured that एक separate resident term came on that time. Okay, and the bill ensured that they should get the the separated women. They should get what was the term called? Yeah, they should get maintenance money.
Adoption and maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah, I forgot the right word. Thank you. So that was the maintenance they should get from उसके husband से. ये कुछ ऐसे objectives थे with regards to Hindu Code Bill. So we will understand how successful was the Hindu Code Bill. Basically, B.N. Rao Sahab, he gave his reports in 1944. Okay, but nobody was satisfied. Even B.N. Rao himself, he was not satisfied with the investigation and with the observation he and his team did in the entire 3 years. So he said, and the British as well, along with the senior political leader, they said, you give more time to Hindu Code Bill. They took 3 more years, and in 1947, and by the time B.N. Rao was he resumed to be the committee member, heading the committee member. The team was the same, okay? So they took more time, almost 1941 से 1947 में they finally gave this bill to the Constituent Assembly, सौंप दिया, okay? And Constituent Assembly, they were at that time. So meanwhile, ये 1947 Feb की बात है, and in Feb they gave the entire report, the entire bill detail to the Constituent Assembly, and that assembly was headed by anybody? 1947 में Constituent Assembly was headed by
Sir B.R. Ambedkar.
B.R. Ambedkar Saab was heading the bill. So I think are you guys understanding the journey? ये journey समझना बहुत important है, because this is the chronological thing. It will help you guys. अगर नहीं समझ में आया था तो बताना. We will discuss once more, because whenever you will relate things in a chronological order, क्योंकि history हम वैसे ही पढ़ते हैं कहानियों से and with chronology. So once the chronology is clear, then we start connecting the dots. यहाँ तक हो गया. Then on 15th of August 1947 से लेके 1952 तक, इस पे मतलब the day India got independent, 1947 से लेके 1952 तक इतना दिन लगा. हम 1 तक कर देते हैं, 1 में हो गया था. इतना दिन और लगा. 3 more years they took in the parliament to debate actually that in Hindu Code Bill this should be there, that should not be there, because there were many members in the Congress committee as well. They were not satisfied with the Hindu Code Bill because their patriarchy used to come in front of their mind, in front of their ego. Of course, they were people. अब मैं आपको बताता हूँ कौन-कौन थे वो. Any idea उस time पे who has opposed Hindu Code Bill in the parliament?
Vallabhbhai Patel. Sir Vallabhbhai Patel.
Patel, he was not happy. Patel was not happy, of course.
Sir Rajendra
Of
Prasad.
course. चलो मैं यहाँ बना ही देता हूँ. ये कांग्रेस टीम है अपनी, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was not happy. You guys said Rajendra Prasad. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was also not happy. नाराज थे, खुल के नाराज थे ये. That he was strictly opposing it. Straightforwardly, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Then there was a very popular political personality, Purushottam Das Tandon. PDDT. ये इसको सर्च कर लेना आप. They were personalities and they were the decision swinger that time. That's why these people are important. And JB Kirpalani, इनका तो नाम सुना होगा आपने. So these were the Congress people. They were not happy with the bill. ठीक है. Now coming back to our main point here. एक second. So during
Sir also Pandit Nehru sir.
हाँ वो मैं आ रहा हूँ. So have you heard about this term, Scheduled Caste Federation? Scheduled Caste Federation, कोई सुना इसका नाम? इसके head हैं Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. This is in which reference, Siddharth? I just missed it. Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer.
Sir, actually, I wanted to say that he also, I think, opposed the Hindu code.
Yeah, A.K. Iyer, right? Yeah. There were many people actually, because बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें थी when the patriarchy and the conservative mindset. Of course, there were people in the Congress committee. They were of conservative and patriarchal mindset. They were opposing it.
Sir, women also like Rajkumar, Sameta. These all are.
Your voice is breaking. एक बार फिर से बोलना.
Sir, Rajkumari और Sameta जो वो भी तो इसमें अपोज कर रही थी.
Yes, they were also opposing it. लेकिन बहुत सारे proposal थे. When we will talk about Hindu Code Bill, so Hindu Code Bill eventually divided into 8 parts. ठीक है? इसको Google भी कर सकते हो आप लोग बाद में जाके. So Hindu Code Bill 8 parts में divide हुआ था, and we will understand here because this is the important part of your Uniform Civil Code. What was Hindu Code Bill? What was Muslim Personal Law? So when we will understand Hindu Code Bill, then I will inform you guys there. क्योंकि that, because when I will explain you the provision, then I will explain you कि this was the provision that guy was upset with. ठीक है? Okay. So the one I was talking about, SCF, okay. SCF is a Scheduled Caste Federation and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was heading it. ठीक है? ये एक important मैं आपको I'm just telling you guys because he has got major influence over the Hindu Code Bill. He said, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, this should get applied because उनको लगता था कि women's को आज़ादी मिलेगी. It's independent women, and then underprivileged, they will get special attention and they will be secured. So there were so many provisions he gave and he thought about it. एक थे, आपको शायद किसी ने भी नाम लिया था, श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी का. Shama Prasad Mukherjee. Of course, he also opposed. Who was he? Anybody? He was the Mukhya of Hindu Mahasabha. Okay. Hindu Mahasabha. Later, this party turned into Bharatiya Jan Sangh Party in 1977. And later on, this party became BJP in 1980s में राजीव गांधी के कुछ गलतियों की वजह से और yes okay and there was a yeah I mean इसको भूल जाओ अभी रहने दो आप ठीक है now B.R. Ambedkar he was the first who was the first law minister of course B.R. Ambedkar मैंने बता ही दिया so B.R. Ambedkar was the first law minister and he of course said that the Hindu Code bill which B.N. Rao has submitted was primarily focusing on those things which the objective I just told you guys a couple of minutes back, okay? And that was primarily which gave rights to women, which gave rights to underprivileged, which gave rights to people who, poor people basically, and they don't have enough spendings, and especially women, daughter and widows. Daughter should get property entitlement in the father's property. Widows को वो limited estate clause हट जाएगा. But what happened? The B.R. Ambedkar, he gave resignation in 1950 September में. बहुत बढ़िया आर्टिकल है. You guys must read the article. What happened here? So basically, he mentioned that the Hindu Code Bill. So I'm talking about 1950. Okay, the Code Bill is about to get passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in 1951. So I'm talking about 1950 के बारे में. So he said the Hindu Code Bill which B.N. Rao has made is totally different now what I can see here. This will not solve any purpose. Okay, this will not solve any purpose. The purpose which we intended in 1941 to eliminate these sections, the present Hindu Code Bill will fail to get resolved in future. This is what his words, and he resigned. और उन्होंने ये कहा कि Nehru treats me. He gave a statement for Nehru that he treat me as his assistant. He do not consider me as a minister. And these were his wordings. And he said that should this Hindu Code Bill is going to be passed in the Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha, then I am no longer be the law minister. I gave resignation. I am giving resign. इस तरीके से B.R. Ambedkar, he was angry, he was upset, he was disappointed with the decision of Congress because this Hindu Code Bill, which was passed in 1951, I think, was entirely politically motivated. ठीक है, वो अपने हिसाब से तोड़ मरोड़ के and few clauses डाला, कुछ नहीं डाला. Ultimately, Hindu Code Bill ऐसा रहा. Okay, so and why and कैसे बना Hindu Code Bill? That we all know that Nehru became the Congress Adhyaksh, the Congress leader from 1951 to 1955, and he won the 1952 elections by majority. Therefore, he passed that bill. Since you guys have also attended my secularism classes, so you all know that what ideology Nehru was following. He was not wrong at his point because he देश को लेके चलना it's not a मजाक, it's not a joke, right? सबके साथ एक you have to go with everybody's word and then you have to implement one law. Implementing a law is not a joke. It takes lots of effort. So the haters, they say that Hindu Code Bill was not as compared to what the B.N. Rao and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has proposed. Of course, it was not, but not the way the haters says. So we will understand the Hindu Code Bill eventually. So what I will do here, I think because 4 हिस्सों में है ये, और I think मुझे, do you guys want to take pause, or maybe we can continue tomorrow, because we will start with a new chapter, new aspect, Hindu Code Bill. ठीक है, so I think let's take a pause.
Sure, sure, sir.
ठीक है, we will understand Hindu Code Bill tomorrow, and with regard to this session and the previous session, should you have any concern doubt, you can post on my ये क्या नाम है इसका, Habitat chat room, so that it will be in a recorded form and we will discuss. Once it will complete, we will have a discussion there. ठीक है. चलिए, well, thank you so much, and then I shall see you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then day after tomorrow, I will let you know the schedule. आप सभी का thank you so much, and thank you so much for giving your time. मिलते हैं अगले सेशन में. जय हिंद.